Akku here again. Welcome back to my FTB Monster Beginner's Guide. Right then, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent this episode. This episode, probably what I would have expected me to go towards was getting some kind of automated resource gathering, and I've got a few things to go with automated resource gathering. I've not actually got any of this. That was quickly what I'm going to do this episode. But if you look at mass resources, we've got quite a few options. We've got computer craft turtles, which is something that I never personally do, but I'm going to mention it just so you know about them. We've got rotary craft boring machine, which is pretty straightforward to set up. It sends a tunnel off in one direction, which is very cool, quite cheap to set up, quite easy to do. We've got Buildcraft Quarry. This is one that everyone, if you've played any kind of modded Minecraft, probably knows about. And we've got a Quarry Plus Quarry as well now. We've got a Quarry Plus upgrade to Buildcraft Quarry that makes it so you can do 256 by 256. If you watch my Space Monster series, I've been using that in that. So that's another option. We've also, I don't think we've got the version of Extra Utilities yet, but there's also a new quarry from Extra Utilities called the Ender Quarry, which I should just look for Ender Quarry. It'd have been much easier. I don't think we've actually got the version yet. No, I don't see it. But that's coming very soon, so that's probably going to be the version, probably in the next version of Monster. We're still on 1.0.10. Anyway, that's just some of the options for getting mass resources in. And when we get mass resources in, I'm going to have to increase my product flow through there. I've only got that little grinder that's very slow, but and at some point I'm going to have to look at the 5x R from Rotary Craft, even though that is going to change a little bit in the newer version, so I'm kind of holding on a bit for that. A couple of other things I want to touch on. Magic crops are of course in this mod. They're a little bit strong. I should be showing them really just because this is the beginner's guide, and I should be showing what the mod packs available. They're a very strong way of getting you all kind of stuff from mobs. I'm going to do mobs a little bit different though, and I want to make a magnum torch at some point, stop mob spawning around here, but we need melons for that and I haven't found any yet. So some Foundcraft stuff. Probably going to wait for the updated Foundcraft for that. Foundcraft 4.1 is out, so the next version of Monster is probably going to have the upgraded research and all things like that, so I'll probably cover them there. And then modular power suit I'm going to make at some point. Jerky farm, don't know if I really need that at the minute. I've been using rotten flesh. Sometimes you can put rotten flesh in a thing called a drying rack, turns it into jerked beef, jerked monster jerky. It's good food source, but you can also put rotten flesh into a redstone furnace and get leather, so I've actually been using it for leather, so I'm not going to bother with that actually. Animal farms, mob farms, well I'm going to work on mob farms this episode. What I'm also going to work on though is something that I often neglect and it's really powerful: blood magic spells. Now blood magic spells use skulls, and we've only got a couple of skulls. So part of the reason why I want to get on mob farm is because I want the other two options for skulls. Now the two that we've got already as creeper heads and zombie heads. The other two that we're going to want are skeleton skull, which is the important one, and wither skeleton skull, which is not quite as important, but it's important in a different way. Now the wither skeleton skull, what that lets us do is that lets us make the other skulls. So I'm going to work towards making a skeleton skull using a wither skeleton skull. For that, it's a bit random, I know, but for that I am going to want to start setting up a mob farm, because the mob farm I'm going to set up is going to be able to create us whatever mob we want, because we're going to be using safari nets and an auto spawner, and we're going to be powering that off our essence berry bush. So I've got a little plan that's going to use this essence berry bush to create mobs for us, to create any mob we want, so we can kill that mob for loot. Now I've had to put another drum there because that got full, so that second one's up to 22. But what we're going to do is we're going to be using this no longer for XP for ourselves. We'll be converting this into mob essence instead of liquid XP, which we can do using a sewer. This is from a design from a guy called Stiax, who sent me a very nice link to his setup using Enderman. But what I'm going to do is a little bit different. Right, but what I want to do first though is I want to show you what spells are about in blood magic. Now what I'm going to do is up here I am going to place down another altar. So let's make another altar. And I cannot believe I didn't bring any glass with me. I'm so angry I didn't bring glass. Damn it. So there's another altar. We don't actually have to put any blood into this one. We can just leave it as a tier 1. That's all fine. And what I'm going to do, we're going to put a couple of things either side of it. I'm going to make 2 of these. What these are called spell tables. And for these we need our apprentice blood orb. I think it's apprentice we need. So, no. What have I done wrong? Spell table. Oh, there's a blood rune in there. Okay, so what I need to do is get a couple of blood runes, which the only ones I've got are these decorative ones in these corners here. What are you there for? You shouldn't be there. So I'm going to pinch them. I'll make a couple more of them off camera later. That's gone into the vacuum hopper, hasn't it? Yep. Thief. Now let me get back up there again. Okay, so blood runes go in the centre there. So you can make these, the apprentice blood orb of course your tier 2, so you can make these at tier 2, even though we're at tier 4 now. We could have made these at tier 2. And I should always make them at tier 2 really, I just forget. What we're going to do is we're going to put a spell table next to this altar that we've just made. I'm going to put one on that side as well. We don't need 2, I could have just used 1, I'm just using 2 because I fancy using 2. And what we can do is we put a skull on these spell tables, and different skulls do different things. Now, what a skeleton skull does is create a projectile. What a wither skull does is it's kind of like an amplified projectile, I guess. Well, it's melee. Okay, sorry. Skeleton is ranged. Wither is melee. A zombie head is defensive. And a creeper is environmental spells. That's how it's described. Now, what we need is we actually need to put something in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bit of glowstone dust, and that is a spell kind of made. What we need though is a way to fire the spell. So that is what we need a bit of glass for. So let me just run down, and in fact, let me just fly out the window because oops, too late. Whee! Where's my glass? It's going to be in my barrel over there, isn't it? So I want 2 bits of glass. Let's go back up there. Now these bits of glass need to go into my main altar over here, because we are going to infuse these with blood. So you'll see they'll start doing the little neutron dance there. And what it's turned into is this guy, which is called an unbound crystal. Cool, I'm going to want 2 of them. I'm making 2 because we've got 2 spell tables. Now the first thing as always when creating something with blood magic is to right click it to bind it to you. So now that's bound to me. And you see it's got a coordinate location. And the coordinate location under there is the coordinates of the spell table we're going to bind it to. So we're going to bind it to, I'm going to click on there, that's going to bind that to that spell table. So see now it's got them coordinates, and we're going to bind this to that spell table, and that's that coordinates. Now what you can do, before we even use these, just so I don't get fully confused, what I'm going to do, I'll put that back in there. I am going to, have I got an anvil? Yes, I have. I'm going to go to an anvil, it's here of course, and I'm going to spend 10 levels, I'm going to rename these. So I'm going to call this left spell and right spell, because meh, I don't know what else to name them. And I just wanted some indication, so I'm going to call that left. Once you know exactly what spell you want in there, you're probably going to want to give these a better name. But I'm going to call these left and right for now, just so we can keep track of which one's which. So let's go and give them a try. So what we've got in there is a bit of glowstone, of course. Now, what I want is a skull, because what a skull does, it gives me a projectile spell. What? Oh, I took no damage then. Is my Oh, that's turned off. Okay, weird. I've got plenty of life points, cool. So, left. Left creates random lightning with a glowstone. How crazy is that? And I'm using life points each time we use it, of course. Then what does right do? Yeah, I thought so. What right does is creates a lightning blast at where the projectile lands. So we could use this as a defensive weapon. We could use this to attack mobs. It's a little bit random though. You could use it to what's the guns that there is that you get a nether star from if you strike them with lightning? Oh, supercharged gravity guns. Is that what I'm talking about? Anyway, that's how glowstone works with a skull. Sorry, a creeper skull and a zombie skull. So the creeper is the one that's doing the environmental. Is that right? Let's just double check. I'm using the FTB wiki, by the way, the Feed the Beast wiki, Blood Magic wiki. You can find a link to that in the video description, if I remember. Please remind me if I don't. Or you can find it in the Blood Magic thread on the MCF forums, on the Minecraft forums. So using glowstone, what am I doing here? Yeah, so the zombie is the one that's doing the random strike, and the creeper is the one that's doing the projected strike. So our left is our zombie then, isn't it? That's a random one. Yeah. So left zombie, it's just fun, isn't it? I am Raiden! Ouch. Right. So anyway, what we want to do is start working towards getting the other two skulls we want. Now we could go, there's ways of doing this. We could use Tinker's Constructs. I could get my rapier out and we could put on a modifier called Beheading, I think. Let's go all the way to the back of here. There it is. Beheading, so with a ender pearl and obsidian, we could add beheading to that, and then we get the skulls. So that's probably an option we should do just for the sake of doing it, to be honest. I upgraded the sword, and now it's got a big purple phallus on the end of it. Not sure what that's about. Well, I went and tested it in the nether. I killed about 20 odd wither skeletons. I've not got a single skull, so I'm not that impressed with the beheading modifier. So I'm not gonna. I deleted that bit of the video. I recorded that, but after a while, when I got no skulls, I thought there's no point in me doing this. So I did make it. So it took a ender pearl and a bit of obsidian, and you get it off. Makes it all funny looking on the end. So I've got a weird looking rapier now. Anyway, so what we're going to do then is I'm going to get on with this build. So if you come over here, I built a little building over here. I've used this fused glass from Ender.io, which is very cool. It's glass in the alloy smelter. Now, it did highlight something that this alloy smelter, I need upgrades in it because it's far too slow. It was getting on my nerves. That's full again now. Cool. So that's the last four that I need. I've used the warded stones there again, so mobs can't get in. So what I've done, I've made a little, I think it's 13 by 13 building here, and I've used that fused glass. It's nice and clear. I like it. And what I've got is I've got a little 5 by 5 area there, and I've got a little 5 by 5 area here. What I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a ritual. What ritual is it going to be? It's going to be the now why do I want this? There, blocks. Yeah. Oh, hello. Hello. What are you doing down there, little cheeky monkey? Because I've not lit it up at all, because I'm a noob. Right, so yeah, what I want is, first things first, let's put this in the right place. Now I built a little cellar down here, because I want to be able to get down here, because the wiring for this is going to be down here. So, I'm going to create a ritual called the Ritual of the Green Grove. Now this is a very useful ritual. Let's tab through Ritual of the Green Grove. It just uses 8 ritual blocks. Oops, not finished yet. We've got 8 ritual blocks, and if we activate that, it won't take anything at the minute. What it will do, if there's something not right on top of it, but on top of the block on top of it, that does make a difference. There's something so on top of these blocks that I've neglected to bring with me. So let me just grab some of them. Whee. It will make it grow. So I want 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I want my chisel just to make them look the same as the rest. There we go. So that's all nice and stealthy, because it's going to look like all the other ones around it. Where's my thing on? There it is. There we go. So if I cover that up, anything that I plant on top of it is going to grow quick. Now it grows quicker than the cheaty watering can, which I think I've mentioned has been fixed in newer versions. In newer versions of extra utilities, the watering can that I've got in there breaks when you put it into anything that's automated. So any kind of machine, it'll break it and it'll have all cracked. It'll look all cracked, and it's only 10% effective. The rituals are 100% effective, but, and there is an important but. Yep, I want one of them. So that's all I need at the minute from here. Is that and that. It's 100% effective, but it does take 20 LP every time it grows something. So anytime it affects a plant, now that's going to affect these if they're grown or not. So one important thing we're going to need on here is a redstone signal. Otherwise, that's going to run all the time, even when we don't want it to. So if I put that on there, what you'll see, you'll start seeing this little red graphic coming off. What that red graphic means is the ritual is growing that, so it's going to pop up and be bigger very soon. Go on, don't make me a liar. There we go. And as we get more of these, I'm going to end up with 8 of these around here. But for now, we've only got 1. So this will increase in effectiveness as we get more of these. Once we start doing some automated resource gathering, then we should find quite a few of these guys. But as it is, there we go. So that's how quick that grows with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a lever and turn that off, because it's going to be wasting. It's going to be wasting LP while we're not actually doing anything with it. So I should have. Oh, I've run out of levers. Okay, so I'll get on the next bit. Now the next bit is a little bit different. What we're going to do is we're going to make a thing called a sewer, which is from Manufacture Reloaded. And instead of getting the liquid XP we've got from there, what we're going to have, I suppose I should just collect these for now. Let's makeshift this really quickly. So they're going to go on there. That one's wrenching to the right direction. There we go. That's actually eating stuff at the minute. So I want to say first slot only, and we just want to bang something in there to stop it eating it. That'll do. Don't know if I want that in there. That'll do. There we go. So that's right clicking that with a bit of gunpowder. So that'll just collect them until we find something else to do with that. But instead of liquid XP, what we want is we actually want mob essence. So we're going to have a sewer, and the sewer is going to eat the XP that gets eaten by this. So we are going to have this, so it just eats it. And we have the sewer here. But the sewer is going to collect. It's going to collect the liquid for us, and then we're going to use that liquid to power an auto spawner, which is going to spawn mobs for us. So I am going to go get the bits ready to make the MFR components of this. We're going to need a sewer. We're going to need an upgrade for the sewer to make it have a bit of a wider radius. We're going to need an auto spawner, and we're going to need a grinder. So I'll get the bits for them, and then we'll be able to put that together. Right then, I think I've got the bits I need for this, so let's get on with it. The first thing we're going to want to make is the sewer, which I've got the bits for. So, of course, we've got thermal expansion recipes in MFR stuff, the thermal expansion variant, so we use thermal expansion stuff in these. So the first thing is a sewer. We actually get 4 of them, which we don't need. We only need 1. Our sewer is going to go in the middle of... yeah, there's good. Actually go there. Well, sewer's going to go there. Now, the sewer needs an upgrade, because sewers only do a 1x1 area, so it'll only do that block on top of it. What we could end up with here is XP balls in this full 5x5 area, so we're going to do a 2 upgrade on that, so that's the next thing I want to make is the upgrade. For that we need a gold nugget, 2 bits of redstone, 3 of these raw plastics, so that's the plastic before it's turned into the plastic sheets. Of course, plastic sheets are 4 plastics. Plastics is cooked up smelted rubber of either canned, if you remember. So let's get rid of them. Get out of there, you. And we're going to go for the iron one, which is a 2 radius upgrade. So now that's got a radius of 3, so that means it's an extra 2 that way, 2 that way, 2 that way, 2 that way. We'll put that in there, so that'll collect any XP that gets dropped down there. So what we can do now is if we take that out, it should start eating them. What should happen is, because it's eating them, it's getting collected into there as mob essence. So it's not getting collected as liquid XP. Well, the problem is we haven't got enough room for it all. So it's not getting collected as liquid XP. It's because of the sewer it's getting collected as mob essence, which is really good. It's exactly what we want. Now, to get that out of there, we're going to go boop, boop. And of course we have got covers that can cover them up, which I don't have any made. But let's quickly make some covers for that. Keep things tidy. With our diamond saw, of course. Because it's just not about how it works, it's about how it looks. Now, something I do need to test is, can I actually plant one of these berries on top of the cover? So I'll leave that. I'll wait until I get the next berry and work that out. I might have to change that if it don't work. No, that'll be alright. Yeah, it'll be fine, yeah. So what we've got now is, we have got this here, and under there we're going to have a barrel. Wonderful. So now we're getting a barrel of mob essence. Sorry, not a barrel, a drum. Drums, of course. Steel, cauldron, 2 weighted pressure plates. So that's all good. So we can actually turn this back on now. Get it to eat them. Random use items. There we go. So that'll be turning all that into this lovely mob essence, which will be going into there. Wonderful. What we want to do is, I think from another one that we haven't touched on yet, buildcraft gates are still the best thing for redstone control, in my opinion. What we're going to have is, we're going to have a gate. We're going to make a thing called a gate that we can put on a thing called a cobble structure pipe here, and what that'll be able to do is detect if this is full. If we can detect that this is full, we can tell that gate to put out a redstone signal, which we will then wire around to the master ritual stone there. So that'll put a redstone signal onto there. So whenever that drum's full, that'll turn the ritual off. So the ritual's only going to work when there's room in the drum for mob essence. So that's how we're going to do that. That might be next episode, because that means setting up laser crafting table and stuff, which we haven't got yet. So that's the first bit of the build done. The next bit, we've got mob essence. That's the first bit, yeah. The next bit is to get the 2 machines we need in here. Now the first one of them is the grinder. Now which order am I doing this in? We need a grinder, and we need a auto spawner. So let's have a look. Are you a grinder? You are a grinder. Cool. So that's what we need for a grinder. Tin gears, books, and an invar sword. That's invar, not iron. That gets us the grinder. And what I've just realised I've totally forgot to do is get the bits ready for the auto spawner. So let's run into here. And for that we need a couple of emeralds. So let's have 2 emeralds. We haven't got many of them, have we? 1, 2. And we need a couple of magma creams. 1, 2. Is it like that? No. What's the other thing we need then? Auto spawner needs... oh, it's nether wart, of course. I have got the nether wart. I was carrying that for a reason. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Let's rotate that all the way around again. What have I done wrong? They're the wrong way around. That gets us that guy auto spawner. Sweet. Now, we could carry on doing what we were doing in there with the fluid ducts. But we're going to come across an issue. Now, the issue we're going to get to is just one of tardiness, really. What we're going to have is we're going to have the auto spawner there. I've got to be careful that things don't spawn in this area, so I'll probably block all this area in underneath here just to make sure the mobs don't spawn down here. We certainly want them just spawning up there. Now, I carried on talking there, and I said I was going to change things around a bit and use Ender IO conduits for the power and the liquid transfer from the barrel. But I've decided against it. I don't want to overcomplicate things. Ender IO conduits are very good. They're a little bit more complicated to make. They need this conduit binder stuff, which is just cooked vanilla items. But they need vibrant alloy and stuff like that. A little bit more complicated to make, a little bit more expensive. And I'm just going to keep it simple and stick to thermal expansion stuff at the minute. It makes it a little bit more, the build a little bit bulky, because the beauty about the thermal expansion stuff is it can all fit in the same block. So if we had an energy conduit, a fluid conduit, a redstone conduit, and an item conduit, all four of them can run along the same block. So they're very good for very compact builds. But we're going to stick like this for now. So I've made a bit more stuff. I've got some more stuff in here I'm going to get to in a minute as well, but we'll come back to that. And first up, what we want to do is we want to attach our drum, which is now up to 94 buckets worth, 95 buckets worth in there. Our drum in there, which is very good. I think, let me just see if I can actually turn this off by putting that there. Now will that redstone signal behind it, or will that do it above it as well? We should be able to tell by no red graphic. We'll still get a red graphic, so that ain't working. Okay, that's good to know. What I actually need to do is, until I've got this laser system, this gate system using the laser crafting, which we'll do next episode, I'm going to turn that off for now, because it does use quite a bit of blood of your network, your life points from your altar, so you need to keep on top of that. I've been doing quite a few things. I've been flying around a lot using the sigil of the air sigil, and I was down to about 600k from my million, so I've used quite a bit. So it starts getting that you use it, but that's the whole point of getting it, so we can use it, innit? Anyway, I digress. We've got that there. That needs a servo, of course, which I've not got on me. But we can now pump liquid into there. We can also take liquid out of this, but yeah, we don't want to do that. So I actually need some more of this conduit. The grinder actually produces some mob essence as well, so we actually want to pump that back into the barrel. So what I'll do is I'll probably run that actually under the glass and cover it up, and we'll run that back into the top of there with that. Yeah, that'll be good. So I'll make some more conduit and I'll do that. I actually got to get a bit carried away and I made far too much power conduit. I've got 60 power conduit and not enough fluid. So I'll run that along there and down to there, and that'll go back into the barrel as well, which is good. And now all we need to do is power. And for power, how am I going to want this? For now, for power, I'm just going to use a redstone energy cell. So I'm going to do it kind of remotely. I'm going to run across. So both these items need power. This is where it gets a bit scruffy, you see, because if we're using the Ender IO, we could get the fluid and the power out without having to have a broken bit of glass there. But because we want the fluid as well, in fact, let's go like that. Yeah. Break that bit of glass instead. We'll have the fluid coming out the side of that, going that way. We'll have the power coming under the bottom of that, like so. So I'll cover all these with the conduits, and what we'll do, in fact, we'll have the redstone energy cell there. So we'll just be doing this remotely until I decide whether to give this its own power source or connect it to the reactor. I'll probably connect it to the reactor by running cable under the ground, but for now that's going to be good enough. Now the next thing is what we're going to need is we're going to need things called safari nets. And safari nets, what we actually, should I cover that there? No, what? So I'm going to block all this in anyway. Let me up. Safari net's what we actually capture animals in, and you make a safari net very simply, like this: 4 ender pearls around 1 gas tier. get a shoot a safari net, and that's a reusable one. What you can do with that is you can put things in it. And what we've got is I've got 3 here. I've got 3 that are very useful. I've got start off with a skeleton. That's what I'm going to start off in here with, is a wither skeleton. So it says skeleton, but it's actually a wither skeleton. What that should do is, once we've got power, is that should spawn wither skeletons for us. Now, I've got a couple of others I've captured as well. I captured a blaze as I was passing. That's very useful for getting blaze rods, of course. And I've got this witch one. Now this is a little bit special. The witch one, I've used the Twilight Forest mod to help me with. To get this stuff, transform powder, this is from the chest in the large hill. You know the large hill we've been mining resources from. There's quite a lot of chests in them, and one of the things you can possibly get from a chest drop is this stuff called transform powder. Now, what transform powder does is it transforms vanilla mobs into the Twilight Forest version, but it can also transform the Twilight Forest version back into vanilla version. So what I've done is I've been and found a Twilight Forest witch, I think they're called druids possibly, and I've changed it back, and I've got a little video clip of that, so I'm going to cut to that and then I'll come back. This is what I've been looking for. I want one of these little witch huts in the Twilight Forest. Now what these have in them is these guys, which I always forget. I think it's too bright for them when you first get it, so let's get rid of that. Just make it a little bit darker. Now I can safari net this guy straight off when we get one spawning. We don't want to spawn it, safari net him straight away. Can I hear a zombie? We'll get jumped by a zombie. I am. Go away, I'm busy. Alright, let's get as much light in here blocked as we can. Let's get some more bricks, aren't we? Fail boat. Up we go. Let's block his chimney. It must be dark enough in here now. There we go. So we've got this guy, but we don't want to capture him like that. We want to use the powder on him and then capture him, and then oh no, it's horrible. And then that. So I made that a little bit dangerous myself. Got no milk. So what I've got now is I've got a proper vanilla witch captured in there. Right, back to the other world. So that was fruitful. While I was out there as well, I found one of the big Thaumcraft trees with cobwebs on, and inside that I found a couple of these guys. Ender lily seeds, which I'll plant next episode. They're very useful. They grow ender pearls. Very good. And speaking of ender pearls, this 4th safari net, the empty one that I've just made, that will be getting an enderman in it, so I can start getting ender pearls as well from this. But for this we're ready to go. Now, I've covered up the little run there with the covers, just so you know, if you get 8 covers and put them into a square pattern, that'll turn it back into a block. But if you get 8 of these normal ones, put it into this square pattern, it turns them into these hollow ones, and then you can put them back into a block if you don't want them. But what the hollow ones are useful for is stuff like that, where we've got a cable going through the floor. You can just put it around the cable like that. Nope, done that wrong. Like that lower, like that flush. There we go. You can put it around the cable. It just makes it look a little bit tidier around the fluid duct. So that's a little bit tidier. Cool. We are ready to go. I put my energy cell down. I want to be in there a second, actually. We want to cover that and that up. There we go, nice and tidy. And like I say, if we were using the Ender Eye conduit, it could be even tidier, because we could have this hidden under the floor where the power cable is. But everything else is good to go. So now, what I've done is I've put a switch on here. This is actually stopping this from working. It's got no power anyway, or liquid. But if it did have, you can see the fact that the blue bar's full. If we turn that off, you'll see that'll start working down. Once it gets to 0, nothing's going to happen because it's got nothing else. But that is a visual indicator that you know it's turned off. So, look, nothing's happened there. If we want to make sure that that actually works, then look at that and you can see it's turned off. So, to turn this off, we need to drop down here, turn it off. I also need to make sure our mobs don't drop down here, so I might have to run that on a bit of red alloy cable across. I have the switch over here somewhere. But I put a servo in there, which is what we needed. I've got some more conduit running across, so any mob essence that the grinder makes will come back into the barrel, into the drum. So I think we're about ready to go. So if I wrench that, that's going to start filling up the auto spawner with mob essence. Wonderful. Now this thing, just so you know, spawn exact copy, you can have that as yes. We might have to make it spawn exact copy for with the skeletons, I can't quite remember. But that takes more power. It takes more mob essence and it takes more power if you change that to yes. So just be aware of that. We'll have to double check. I don't quite remember if you have to have it as that for a wither skeleton. And now let's give it power. So we want to set the back of that to be an output, that's the back one. So now they should have power, cool, and mob essence. So all it needs is work, and we can give it work by 10 in that one. What we should probably see, how did I do that? It's a bit bland of me, wasn't it? Yeah, look, it's spawning normal skeletons. We don't want that. So because I actually captured a wither skeleton, if we go to spawn exact yes, what it's going to give us is wither skeletons instead of normal skeletons. You see it's just spitting the stuff out the back. Now, there we go, now it's spawning wither skeletons. What we need on the back is a chest, or to plumb it into our A network, etc. For now, we're going with a reinforced strong box, which is going to start capturing all the stuff. I'll just throw that stuff in there. Now this is dropping out, and we can keep going until I get a wither skull. Now I'm going to get a couple of wither skulls. I'll do it off camera because it might take a while. Once we've got a couple, we'll do the next little bit and we'll actually sort our spells out to be the ones that we want. Back in a bit. And I have eventually okay, that's a bit dangerous. I have eventually, yeah, right, that's a mistake by my part. These walls should be double thick along the north side and the west side of this cage. So I'm going to double up this wall, and what I need to do is I need to double up this wall as well, because that's how mob spawners work. Now the MFR ones work the same as the vanilla ones. I forgot about that. I thought the MFR ones was in a 5x5, but they're not. What it does, it's the northwest corner of the spawner. It's it can spawn 4 blocks in each direction from that. So 1, 2, 3, and then the block where the wall is 4. If you look at this side though, from that point, it's 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So they can spawn along this line here. So I should have been aware of that. We've eventually got with the skeleton. It's actually taken all of my mob essence. Not a 0, look. So it's a bit slow at the minute. Now there's a couple of things that are holding it back. One is, of course, I have to stood up there to regen life points. Later on, when we'll expand this system at some point, once we've got loads of these essence berry bushes, we'll actually create a second altar that's got sacrifice runes, and we'll spawn mobs that will feed the altar, and then the excess will spawn as mobs. It's a system that's going to grow. Anyway, for now, we've got what we wanted. We've got a wither skeleton skull. I'm going to turn that off now, because we should actually only need one of them. In fact, what I'm going to do is, when it was night time just then, I did, in fact, manage to cop hold of a enderman. Now, basically, I just stood up there, on top of there, looking for an enderman. Looked right at him, he came and teleported up at me, and then I captured him in a safari net. So we've got a safari net with an enderman in there now. So that's probably what I need more than anything else, but I'm going to show you the witch one instead, actually. I'll show you why the witch one's so useful. So let's take that one out. We'll switch that to exact copy now, because we don't care about that. And we'll put the witch one in. And this should take less mob essence now, because it's a witch. So I was going to put witches in there. And you'll see the plethora of items that witches drop is why witch ones are very useful. So we'll come back to that in a bit. Right, so we've got a wither skeleton skull. What we can do with that? First thing, we'll check out what that does on its own in here. Now this is going to be a bit irritating, but I'm going to take off the zombie skull on the left, and I'll put a wither skull on there, like so. So now left, that's right. Where's left? There's left. What left's going to do, and it's going to take me ages to sort this out. What left's going to do is, with the skull, is creates a rainstorm. Beautiful. So now it's going to rain for the rest of the day. Great. I don't know why I bothered doing that, but that's what the skull does with glowstone. And now, what we can do, the last thing I want to do with my very full inventory, is if you look at recipes from this guy, you will see in, I think it's shaped crafting. No, is it shapeless? It must be shapeless. We will see that these 3 recipes here are added by blood magic. You can turn a wooden skull into a creeper head using sand, dirt and gunpowder. You can turn it into a zombie head using rotten flesh, leather and iron. Or you can turn it into a normal skeleton skull using a bow, a bone and an arrow. Now, I've got a bone and an arrow, and I need a bow. Have we got a bow? I've got an enchanted bow, don't use that. So let's cop hold of a bow. I'll cut camera, I'll wait until I can sleep and get rid of the rain. That's better. Now what we can do then is we can get a bone, arrow, a bow and a wither skeleton skull, and we can create a normal skeleton skull, which is one that we're really after. Let's put that there, and if we put that in there now, what we've got is a really nice, well, this is my favourite one, we've got a real nice, just a projectile, and it's firing a little bit of glowstone. You can't really see it, but you can kind of see it. So if we found some mobs to kill, let's go into the hollow hill. There we go, that'll have to be some mobs there. Won't stay still, you. We've got a nice little range attack that does 8 hits, 8 damage per hit, and it does 8 damage per hit on anything, I think, including withers and stuff like that. So we can use this as a very good strong weapon. Oops. If I can aim it right. I've got a nice little spamming weapon. I like this. I like it a lot. So that's with glowstone. There's, look at all these guys. Where are they all coming from? There's other options you can use. They're on the list on the wiki that I've linked to. Flint and steel's very fun with a skeleton. It'll set fire to a 3x3 area of wherever the projectile lands. Look at all the mobs in here. Busy, isn't it? Screw you, skeleton, with your bow. I'm better than you, because I've got magic power. Right then, so that is about it for this episode. I'm just going to quickly go back and see what the witches have given us. So let's jump out the window. Whee! And see what the witches have given us. So up to now we've got sugar, glass bottles, more sugar, sticks, redstone, glowstone, and oh, shit. I'll sort that out between episodes. And yeah, so good source of redstone, good source of glowstone, plus some other stuff that's very useful for potions and stuff. So that's what witches can give us. One last thing, while I was waiting for it to get night time so I could turn the rain off, I went into the nether, I flew around, I found a ghast, captured it, made another safari net. So once we get enough, there we go. We can also get ghast in here. That's why I've made it 4 tall. You need it 4 tall to be able to capture a ghast. And there we go. We've got a ghast tiers. Sweet. Right. I hope that was all educational and entertaining and all that stuff. Thank you very much, as always, for any new subscribers, any comments, all stuff like that. It's all very much appreciated. Thank you very kindly. And I hope I see you next time. I'll turn that off for now. And let's turn that off. Let's see how much I've got. I've used What's that? 50k. That's all good, isn't it? So there we go. Next episode we'll get something a bit different. But, I'm going to keep working on this as we find more essence berries. We'll speed it up and all stuff like that. Cheers. Bye.